In the headlines, Prime Minister Skerrit reassures Petite Savanne residents that home ownership in Bellevue-Chopin will not deprive them of property in Petite Savanne. 1 year after Erica forced its shutdown for repairs, Dale's primary school is about to reopen its doors, and the private sector wraps up a 2-day capacity building exercise on consumer protection legislation. I am Kenny Williams with the Channel 5 News. I'll be back with the details after this. First up, displaced residents of the Petite Savanne constituency can rest assured that land certificates in their name will be issued to them when they are relocated at Bellevue-Chopin. That was one of the questions that a resident of Petite Savanne posed to Prime Minister Skerrit when he met with the community at Goodwill Parish Hall on Monday. Although some residents thought that they would not have ownership of the house proposed for their permanent resettlement, Skerrit said that is not so.
In respect to the home you will receive from the government on the new site, each of the families will get a certificate of title. So the house will be in your name personally, or husband and wife in some cases, but certainly in your name. So you could go to the bank and get a loan using the title to send your child to study or something.
And what happens to the land and homes at Petite Savanne? Well, Skerrit says his government has no intention of seizing people's properties.
The government will not seek to take ownership, though legally it can take ownership, but the government will not be interested in taking legal ownership of the existing properties in Petite Savanne. There are people who have particular special issues, some of whom I met today, who will be treated differently for safety reasons largely. Let's be very clear. You cannot want to have a house in Bellevue-Chopin and have title in your hand, and then your house closed in Bellevue-Chopin and you're sleeping in Petite Savanne.
The Prime Minister has also made it clear that if the Petite Savanne community relocates to government's Bellevue-Chopin site, they must understand that Petite Savanne is unsafe to live. He, however, understands that people will want to visit their properties.
But truth be told, I see no reason why somebody can't take a day trip to Petite Savanne and so on, but to stay there, to reside there, is not something that you should be doing.
Meantime, Chairman of the Petite Savanne Village Council hopes homeowners from the community can have the burden of paying their home mortgages lifted off their shoulders.
While the structure of some houses in Petite Savanne appear undamaged, government engineers have deemed the village uninhabitable due to the impact of Tropical Storm Erica. Petite Savanne Village Council Chairman Edward Thomas says it's a matter he's optimistic a cabinet subcommittee will address.
There are a number of people from Petite Savanne who still are paying the mortgages, which is something that is very hard for them. There is a technical team, which government has assigned to work with, with the resettlement of our community and all that matters,
Another matter bugging Thomas is the non-payment of a displacement allowance to those who returned to live in Petite Savanne.
Government, that is one way of trying to get the people to stay away from the village because it is dangerous, by not, responding to that cause, But, all in all, this displacement allowance should be given to them. I think it should be given to them. You will always find like a couple people will want to go back and, but again, probably after they have stayed there for a number of weeks or months, it will sink in and they will realize, this is no place for them.
And government has so far spent in excess of $5 million to help cushion the effects of Tropical Storm Erica on the people of Petite Savanne. T-Savanne residents met to dialogue with Cabinet on Monday, where they asked questions on matters of concern to them concerning ongoing financial support and housing-related matters. $698,000 was spent on accommodation at 4 guest houses. Some displaced residents were encouraged to find private houses for rent, and that also proved a costly venture.
From October to July, we had people in various houses, and every month the number would increase because we would encourage people to get their houses and make yourself as comfortable as possible. And the price fluctuated, you know, based on the house that you were going to, it fluctuated. But a few of them we spent over $1,000, but most of them was within $1,000. And I can say to you, up to July of 2016, from October to July of 2016, we've spent $728,370 just for rent private homes.
Mrs. Charles chaired the Social Services Subcommittee for Post-Erica Recovery and Rehabilitation efforts. And 1 year after Erica, the sense of gratitude for government's intervention on behalf of the Pitted Savan people is still very evident, and Prime Minister Skerrit has been commended for his leadership in the aftermath of Tropical Storm Erica.
Nowhere in the region or in the international community has any government moved in with such swiftness and with such compassion towards citizens. Because we could have easily said this is a natural disaster and let everybody, to put in local balance, debouille on itself. But not so. The hallmark of this Labour Party administration has been one of compassion and humanitarian, and we and Tropical Storm Erica has further proved that.
Pitted Savan and Dubic people who lost their livelihood due to Tropical Storm Erica will be employed under the NEP in September. In other news now, private sector representatives ended a 2-day capacity building exercise on Tuesday, which hopefully leaves them better informed about plans for a consumer protection bill and what that means for them. The Ministry of Trade is ensuring that throughout this process, the private sector stakeholders remain engaged in this capacity building exercises. Private sector input is critical if the consumer protection framework in Dominica is to be enhanced.
We cannot have a comprehensive and balanced consumer protection regime without your active involvement. I say this because the Ministry of Trade has been awaiting a show of keen interest by this sector where these issues are concerned. The private sector consultancy did not allow for all the well-thought comments to have been given. And we did have a private sector consultancy where we invited the CSM unit to come to Dominica and to impact knowledge. We also placed the bill, the 2 bills, on the consumer protection, on the Dominica website. And we only got comments from 2 stakeholders. Over the years, we have continued to tweak and amend the initial CARICOM Consumer Protection Bill to ensure that it inculcates and appreciates Dominica's subjective and unique circumstances. Upon the submission of the new CARICOM harmonized bill, the Ministry of Trade has been working collaboratively with the Ministry of Justice to reconcile the 2 bills. We continue to also offer opportunities working with international partners and regional and sub-regional organizations of which we are party to bring information to you on this issue, which we consider to be very important.
The question remains how the new legal framework can provide redress for consumers whose rights have been infringed, but at the same time does not unduly threaten the survival of the business concerned.
Whatever steps we take to address consumer concerns, we've got to make sure we don't kill the goose that lays the golden egg. If we burden business unreasonably with costs, if we tie their hands too severely so that they can't innovate, so that they can't promote, then we don't do consumers any service.
The project building capacity for effective consumer protection is part of efforts within the OECS and CARICOM to harmonize consumer protection laws. In education, one primary school which has been out of commission for an entire year will be welcoming back its staff and pupils come next month.
Daly's Primary School is now safe for children and teachers following renovation works. The primary school was rendered unfit for classes when its roof was severely compromised following Tropical Storm Erica last year. However, it is now all systems go for the 2016-2017 academic year.
In less than 1 year, the Daly's primary school at Font Thomas that was impacted by the storm and had to be abandoned for just about 1 year, that right now a contract is being executed at the Daly's Primary School to the tune of some $365,000 EC dollars. And I say this because when you think of it, Daly School has a population of less than 50 children. And the government, the Labor Administration, is spending $365,000 just to house about 36 students. So when you do the economics of it, you will really find out that a lot is being invested in my constituency.
During the last academic year, children from the Daly's Primary School were having classes at the youth center. The French community had also contributed to the renovation works of the Daly's Primary School and Soufrière Primary School by donating a total of €70,000 towards restoration works. Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
Stay tuned for more news after this. Thanks for staying with us. After being on remand for 2 months, Elrado Ducre and Craig Christian, charged with conspiracy to rob Jewelers International, have finally been granted bail. The prosecution did not object to bail for the 2 men, but they requested that bail be set at EC $500,000. This would be accompanied by strict reporting conditions, surrender of all travel documents, and they were forbidden to interfere with any witnesses in the matter. Bail was set at EC $250,000 after some intervention claiming it was too high. Trial is set for the end of October. 7 years after a fire destroyed a place of gathering for the Rastafarian community, steady work and dedication have brought them closer to having a proper structure to commune once more. This as the Rastafarian community is slowly but surely rebuilding its tabernacle in Gommier-Girardel. The reconstruction of the tabernacle is being funded by members of the Brethren of Nyabingi, who have also been doing the hands-on rebuilding work every Saturday.
It was damage enough, plenty damage because it's fire, you know what I mean? It just burned up everything, So, yeah, well, I mean the concrete part stay, because it's concrete, so the outer sides and those things, stay put. But I mean, it's like you have to start all over again, don't care what, because they've gone away already. But nevertheless, we move on, but just keeping positive vibration and just knowing that the tabernacle have to build because it's a phenomenon, for I and as Rastafari to be even building a tabernacle in this time.
Imani says though 7 years have passed since the fire and work has been on a continuous basis, a lot remains to be done to complete the tabernacle.
Because it's a big building, but it's a significant building in the tabernacle setting of man, where there is the 12 outer posts and the center posts. The surroundings have to go on, the outer gate, still have to go on with full painting, one two little tidbits because you see the triple crown up there, and the seating, and we pretty much a distance, you know what I mean? Pretty much a distance. I saying can't say what time it will finish, but we're pretty much a distance going, I mean, if I want, I can have a congregation, but no, I'm building it still.
No deadline has been set to complete the project. However, the Brethren of Nyabingi still meet on site for special occasions.
Because, there are times when we have certain events, the whole days, like we call it, like July 21st, which is His Majesty's birth date, and, the coronation, 2nd November, and certain significant days that we announce and, people come to the gathering. And it always remain mystery, as to how long it will take and how long it could finish next week or next strong, as we say. It could finish next month. It could finish next year. It could finish 2 years down, It's life, and we go in, But then that landmark have to remain, and that landmark have to stay, because the landmark of Rastafari movements in Dominica, in this land.
That's news. Your sports highlights next. On the cricket scene, South Africa beat New Zealand by 204 runs in their second test at Centurion on Tuesday. South Africa scored 481 in the first innings, with Faf du Plessis hitting 112 not out. New Zealand replied with 214. Kane Williamson scored 77. In the second innings, South Africa declared on 132 for 7. Quinton de Kock scored a half-century. New Zealand was bowled out for 195, with Henry Nichols reaching 76. Meantime, their first test match was drawn with South Africa on 263 and New Zealand 15 for 2. Moving on to football, where Grand 4 Rockets, RC Young Boys, Uprising Stars and RC Veterans had wins in the most recent games from the Rivière Syrique Football League. Rockets had a 5-1 goal advantage against Minia 7-11 MJ United. Malian Philip netted twice for Rockets, with Neri Pascal, Gerard Matthew and Lloyd George scoring one each. Keon Samuel scored the lone goal for MJ United. In another match, Uprising Stars beat Play 4 United 7-5. Denzel Loader added 2 goals, with Kazimi Benjamin, Pachenko Dijimo, Nick Anthony, Stephen Reed and Michael Hector assisting with 1 goal each. 4 came off the boots of El Pascal and Campbell Prince, 1 for Play 4. RC Veterans and Southeast Under-17 played to a 5-2 match. Leon John Baptist netted 3 times. Radisson and Sean Pascal, 1 each for Veterans. Under-17 contended with 2 goals from Isaiah Bruni. And RC Young Boys defeated Young G-Made 2-1. Frankie Lawrence and Kyle Layton got 1 each for Young Boys. Dylan Thomas got the lone goal for G-Made. Next up, Fantastic, Dubla Almond and Rising Stars, Maxroy Royal Challengers, ACS South Defenders, Stowe & Co Hard Hitters and Matadors had good performances in the recent games from the 2016 Giant Malt Rounders League. Fantastic Stars won Police Sports Club by 240 runs. Stars finished on 356. Yvonne Burton, 77, Roseanne Flora, 70, and Yvette Mingo, 52. Police replied with 116, Valdo Nelson, 68, Marie J. Rabes, 26, and Linda Daisy, 17. In another match, Dubla Almond Stars defeated Posse Rock Stars by 5 wickets. Rock Stars scored 229 all out, Antoinette Paul, 81, and Jennifer Moulin, 22. Rising Stars had a 7-wicket advantage over Gallia Heatwaves. Gallia batted first and scored 224 for 8. Cheryl Alexander, 41, Emin Williamson, 40, and Morena Williamson, 35. Rising Stars scored 229 for 4 in reply. Erlyn Henry, 40, Ophelia Henry, 32, and Frederica Carbon, 31. Moving over to St. Joseph, where Maxroy Royal Challengers beat Marigot Cooperative Credit Union Stars by 7 wickets. The winner ended their game on 378, while MCCU made 376. Still in rounders, Stowe & Co Hard Hitters won Point Michelle by 163 runs. Hard Hitters scored 343 for 6 in 40 overs. Eugenia Jolly, 107 not out, and Barbara Henderson, 55 not out. Point Michelle reached 180, Shanika Etienne, 42, and Yarnell Regis, 23. ACS South Defenders beat Wharton Waven by 7 wickets. Wharton Waven scored 217 for 6. Danik Bruno, 47 not out, and Shanna Abraham, 44. Defenders replied with 224 for 4. Myrtle Henderson, 39 not out, Tina Henry, 38, and Chantel DeRoche, 36 not out. Finally, Matadors bested KFC Mafia Battlers by 109 runs. Matadors scored 356 for 7. Celia Tavernier, 131 not out, Tonia Birmingham, 46, and Evelyn Adams, 42. Battlers answered with 247 for 9. Elizabeth Tavernier, 54, and Tara James, 35. Back with more football, we can tell you that Arizona Boys drew 1-1 with Sun Pirates, and Ghetto Youths All-Stars beat Signman by default in the TTV Beach Football League. Wadi Pielwe scored for Sun Pirates. Casey Ernest equalized for Arizona Boys. Well, that's all the sporting highlights for now. Be sure to join us tomorrow. Coming up, your weather forecast.
Good evening, viewers. Welcome to tonight's weather broadcast. I am Janet Macpherson. A high-pressure system was the dominant feature today, resulting in some low-level clouds across the region. Fair to partly cloudy skies were observed at first, becoming increasingly cloudy by afternoon. Isolated thunderstorms were also observed. Radar imagery indicated scattered showers across Dominica this afternoon, along with other portions of the island chain. The weather for tonight, partly cloudy to cloudy with scattered showers. Tomorrow, increasingly cloudy with scattered showers. Seas tomorrow, moderate, waves peaking up to 7 feet. Looking ahead for the next 3 days, Wednesday and Thursday, increasingly cloudy skies with scattered showers are expected due to the presence of a trough system. A relative improvement in conditions is expected by Friday, along with increased wind speeds. Throughout the Caribbean tomorrow, partly cloudy to cloudy skies are expected across the northern to central portion of the region, while thunderstorm activity is expected across the southern portion of the islands. On the international cities forecast, partly cloudy skies in New York and London, thunderstorm activity in Miami and Caracas, while overcast conditions are expected in Beijing. Sunrise tomorrow at 5:52 a.m. and sunset at 6:18 p.m. For up-to-date weather information, please visit our website at weather.gov.dm or call the weather hotline at 447-5555. Thank you for viewing and have a good night.
To end the news, a recap of the headlines. Prime Minister Skerrit reassures Petit Savan residents that home ownership in Bellevue-Chopin will not deprive them of property in Petit Savan. 1 year after Erica forced its shutdown for repairs, Dalis Primary School is about to reopen its doors, and the private sector wraps up a 2-day capacity building exercise on consumer protection legislation. Feel free to contact us at news@MarpinNewsAug30th2k16. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Kenny Williams. To all our viewers around the world, we thank you for watching. Join us tomorrow.